Okay, I just finished episode 1 of the second season of Mushoku Tensei, The Heartbroken Mage. And I have to absolutely say this. What a fantastic official start to the season. Because I don't know if you want to count episode 0. I don't know how that works, but either way, what a fantastic start to the season. We see basically the aftermath of how season 1 ended, and you immediately know this season's going to be different. From how the episode starts. The best thing, in my opinion, about Mushoku Tensei is the constant world building that it does. Better than any anime, even isekai anime that I've seen. Amazing world building. How it starts off silent in the carriage. You're watching those 3 guys playing some dumb coin flip game, and Rudeus is just sitting there, broken. And then you have Suzanne and Sarah, who I'm going to talk about a little bit later. And Rudeus is just sighing. Anybody who's watched season 1 understands why Rudeus is that way, for how glorious season 1 was, how much we saw Rudeus grow from everything that happened in his past life. It took a night and a poorly written note. It felt like to destroy everything that he had gained over the course of the first season. A lot of people in the Mushoku Tensei fandom do not like Eris, okay? But also there are a lot of people who excuse Eris for what she did. So at the end of the first season, the dead end party of Rudeus, Rudeus and Eris were walking, they're going back to the Fatoa. That was what the task that they accomplished together, and they found a way across the sea, and they're back on the main continent, and they're going to Fatoa. But I think they call it the Dragon's Vein or the Dragon's Neck, where they meet Orsted. And Orsted ain't no joke, right? So Rudy, there's a special thing with Rudeus that he has the Laplace factor or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. But everybody who sees Orsted is immediately frightened of him. There's some power that he has. I can't remember off the top of my head. And rightfully, Rudeus and Eris are afraid of him. But Rudeus is like, what's going on? So as they pass by Orsted and and his companion, who we will see later in the season, Orsted asked if he ever heard of a man named Hitogami, basically the man god, that freaking solid white person that Rudeus always talks to when he's back in that white plane, when he's back to his earthly body. And then Orsted, Rudeus obviously says, yeah, I've heard of him, and Orsted immediately attacks, and it's on, and Orsted wipes out the party and kills Rudeus right in front of Eris. So ironically, thanks to Orsted's companion, Rudeus is revived. And that watching Rudeus die shakes Eris, right? And Eris is she finally understands that, oh my God, Rudeus is younger than me, but Rudeus has been fucking carrying the party and all other matters, right? And she understands that she is not strong enough to stand beside him. Which I understand why she feels that, but the action that she does, what she decides to do, is unforgivable in my opinion. Eris has grown on me from how she started in the beginning. Tsundere to the worst tsundere, but she grew on me. But this is just her fatal flaw, okay? I don't care how bad tsunderes are at communicating, okay? She could have been better. So what happens when they get back to Fatoa and they see basically what happened, right, after the mass teleportation incident, and Eris learns about what happened to her family, and basically she's like the leader of her side of the family right now. The only person I think left was her butler, who's been helping her family's butler, who's been helping organize the people from Fatoa. And they end up having a very passionate night. And then when Rudeus wakes up in the morning, my guy is like, I've done it, He's like, I'm the king, but Eris is gone. And she left a note there, we're not a match. I can't remember exactly what it was 2 sentences. We're not a match. And she leaves. And it in all intents and purposes, to anybody, it looks like She broke up with him. She doesn't want to see him anymore. And Rudeus is crushed. Like, to see all the character development that Rudeus had undergone over the course of the first season to where he is now, where legitimately he's probably at his best. He's probably at his best character-wise, right? And then to be just punched in the gut by somebody he legitimately loves. He loves. He's prepared to like do anything for her. And then she freaking leaves. In Eris's mind, she's basically said, hey, I'm not strong enough to like stand next to you. I'm gonna go train and become stronger and come back, right? And the reason she left the way she did is because she knew that Rudeus would talk her out of it. When I legitimately think Rudeus would have been like, no, let's go train together. That's what I think. Because Rudeus is smart enough to understand that we might run across that guy again, and I don't want to get fucking worked like we did last time. But Eris leaves him in basically one of the worst ways. She should have just fucking ghosted him then if she didn't write that note. That would have been better. So all Rudeus is carrying now at the start of the second season is that fucking note and the lock of her hair. That note that he saw. That's why as the first season ends, all you see is Rudeus fucking cry when he tries to go out and look for her. And I am fucking crushed. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be cussing a lot because that's my main problem with Eris. I don't care how bad tsunderes are, because Eris is an example of a greatly written tsundere. In the beginning, I fucking hated her. Like I hate every tsundere that I come across in any anime that I watch, right? But after that, it's the author or the writer's job to get me to like this person. And they did that. And like to go back before, I don't care how bad she is at communicating. She's a tsundere. Like, she could have fucking wrote a better note. Even Ghislaine was like, are you sure you want to leave it that way before they go to the land of swords or whatever they're going for her to train? And she's like, yeah, Rudeus would understand. No, he won't. He won't. Not the way that you wrote it. That's my main problem with her. So now that we're watching Rudeus deal with that, and you see how depressed he is and all that, then you get one of my favorite characters, even though she's not in the story that long, Suzanne, and how instrumental she particularly is in Rudeus getting back up on his feet. So Rudeus is now heading north to look for his mom, Zenith, right? Realistically, he's using this quest for his mom as a way to kind of shelve his problems, his depression, all that. And it's perfect as you see Suzanne try to reach out, right? And then Sarah snaps back because Rudeus is being rude, but Sarah doesn't understand all the shit that Rudeus has been through. So Rudeus lets her know, I'm looking for my mom because of the mass teleportation thing. And then everybody, even the guys fucking playing that coin flip game, it gets really fucking quiet. Everybody's not, now it's awkward. But Suzanne's still like, because she's a tsundere, another very well written tsundere, maybe the best written tsundere in the story, and I'm willing to argue on that. She still's like, that's no excuse for you to be rude. And I'm like, yes, bitch, it is. Like, and like, maybe because I've read the whole story, like Eris, I fucking hated Sarah first too. Like, bitch, you don't fucking know nothing. You just talking. Fuck you. But I ended up loving her at the end. So he goes in. They get to the town they're in, right? In the north, and then he disbands Dead End. And I loved when he was about to give the guild receptionist the thing to the card or whatever, the plate to disband Dead End, and then he waits for a second. It's like he's losing a piece of him to fully cement that season 2 is gonna be different. There's no more Dead End, no more Rudeus, no more Eris. Like, it's just him now. And my favorite, season 2 will cover my favorite part of the entire story, and where you watch Rudeus pick himself up again from like all the gut punches he had in his previous life to all the gut punches he gets while in his new life, and see how much he's grown. And then he gets basically knocked out by Eris, right? And then he picks himself back up again. And watching Suzanne reach out again when Rudeus was about to just do this thing solo. And if do a very dangerous quest solo, and if Suzanne doesn't like step up to like, hey, this seems like a really dangerous quest, let's do it together, I think Rudeus would have died. I think he would have just given up and died. So they do everything right. He agrees. They basically talk him into joining the Counter Arrow party. And you see like there's 2 frontline fighters, there's a healer mage, there's a like an attack mage, and then there's Sarah, who's like the support. She's an archer. So they meet up the next morning. Of course, Rudeus is early because he just couldn't sleep, and they go fight these bear things, like these bear looking things, right? So the beginning of the quest goes great. They're killing it. To the point that, you know, the other part, the attack mage is just Rudeus. We finally get Rudeus uses his trademark magic Quagmire to hold the bears in place as the attack mage is just throwing fireballs at them. And then you kind of get to see how kind of ridiculous Rudeus is, because how much time the attack mage is spending throwing his fireballs, because he has to cast the incantation. It takes a while, right? And you just see like the fact that Rudeus doesn't use incantations with his attack spells, except for I believe healing magic is the only time he has to what do you call it? He has to use an incantation, but even it's reduced. Like he's so OP, like he can just launch spells like that, right? So Rudeus is like, wait a minute, something's wrong. And then just all his time from his adventuring with Dead End, he realizes this there's something going on here. And then turns out more, even stronger, like bears pull up. And the thing is, right before he just kind of gives up, like he just stands there and he was going to let the grizzly bear kill him, which would have been crazy. Because imagine once everybody else finds out, like if Eris finds out Rudeus was killed, Rudeus finds out Rudeus was killed, Roxy and Sylphie, oh my god, man. If that's how his story could have ended. But Suzanne comes up clutch again and saves him. First of all, shout out to Suzanne. Love more black women in anime, and she can get it. She can absolutely get it. But she comes in clutch, protects him, and then they realize that they're going to try to retreat, but then they end up getting surrounded because more bears pull up, and then you have this great panning shot, right, as the Counter Arrow party is fighting desperately to stay alive, and Rudeus is not doing anything. He's like, why are they fighting? Why am I so excited? And then he just finally is like, I get this. He's like, I understand. And then after they get like a moment where Sarah helps Suzanne up, but they see more bears pull up, Rudeus is like, I got this. He steps up. Sarah tries to say something, and you get that trademark when Rudeus turns around. He has that smile, like it's like the first time all episode you get to see Rudeus be Rudeus in some way, and he launches this ridiculously big fireball, basically making all the fireballs that the attack mage launched at the start of the quest look like bitch. He made his attack mage look like a bitch. Throws this ridiculous fireball at this group of bears, chars them completely, murks them. Fantastic explosion, and it's like Rudeus is back, right? It's like he's back, and then you get this quiet moment where everybody just kind of cutting the fucking, they're like taking the pelts off these bears, and then Suzanne's the first one to speak. She's always the first one to speak, like even though Suzanne's technically not the leader of Counter Arrow, the attack mages, right? And Suzanne is the one that kind of gets everybody in order. If he's like behind every leader, there's like a great like person behind them, right? Or like behind every man is a good wife, but I don't think they were married. But Rudeus like says thanks her for bringing him on the quest, and then they finally shake hands, going from a moment right before the quest began when it's still back in town, where Suzanne tried to shake his hand, but he was like hesitant to. And then they go back to the guild. The guys are kind of hating on them, like, oh, fucking outsiders. They think they're hot shit just because they did a quest that wasn't that hard, because they don't know about the extra bears that pulled up, right? And then the Counter Arrow like buys around for everybody, and then they introduce themselves to the new guild, right? And it's a fantastic It was awesome. Just watching the guys, like everybody in there, like, yeah, welcome Counter Arrow, welcome Rudeus, and like chanting Rudeus' name. It's like a moment of triumph, and Rudeus like laughs, and it was just like, yes. As obviously anime onlys will like that moment, but for anybody who's read, I know the manga is controversial, but anybody who's even read the manga or read the web novels will enjoy. I truly believe you will enjoy that moment. Like, I paused the episode and I had this fucking big ass shit-eating green on my face. Like, I was so happy for Rudeus, right? And then Rudeus goes back to his room, and you saw him reach into his pouch, right? And I immediately knew what he was reaching for. It's Roxy's panties. Like, that's like his lifeline to Rudeus remaining Rudeus, and maybe the best use of panties in anime, because it's like everything that happens has meaning in Mushoku Tensei. So yes, you're getting that pervert fucking thing that you get in every anime, but it means something. Like, the panties really do mean something. And he cries and he gets mad at himself because he was prepared to die. Then you get this brilliant, fantastic like look back in everything in season 1, and including his past life, and showing you like, what do I have to give up? Why am I giving up? Why did I say that I'm going to lose everything? And you get like, you see his family, you see his mom, you see his sisters, you see Roxy. I loved when you saw like when Roxy was taking Rudeus to go graduate I think it was in the second episode of season 1, when they're just on the horse and they're just trotting through the fucking Fatoa fields, and I'm like, yes, it was like the episode hit all the moments that I wanted to hit. It hit all the right notes. And what a fantastic episode. What a fantastic episode. I'm going to say it one more time. What a fantastic opening episode. Oh my God. And then to kind of seal that he's going to start moving forward again, he picks up the locket of Eris's hair and he throws it in the fire, fully signifying that he's moving on, that he's starting to move on. And amazing. So I want to talk about Sarah a little bit more. Okay, so over the course of the episode, you'll see that he never says it out loud, but Sarah resembles Eris a lot. And the fact that he only said Eris's name once the entire episode, so great use of her and how much they resemble each other, right? And Sarah, to me, is one of the most tragic characters in the story, because obviously, like Eris, she's a major tsundere, and as you will see, because I don't want to spoil what's probably going to happen in this season. After everything was said and done, I love Sarah, and it may be in another life things really work out for Sarah the way I would not have a problem if it actually worked out that way. But Sarah starts off very cocky, and the fact that Counter Arrow is accomplishing two things. They're trying to get Rudeus out of his shell, right? Because the way he's acting, he's not going to be a great adventurer. But they're also using him to teach Sarah a lesson, because Sarah is cocky, you know? She's naive, thinking that Counter Arrow is going to stay together forever, because anything could happen and maybe multiple members get killed, and all of a sudden Counter Arrow has to disband or whatever. And tell her that in the Asura Kingdom, there's a lot more adventurers there, so she could move party to party. But in the North, you don't have that luxury. And it's like Rudeus has to start on his road to recovery, and Sarah has to be taken down a peg. And you guys are going to love their interactions. You really are going to love their interactions. And like me, I've said too much, but you're gonna love Sarah. The animation was fantastic. Just the panning shot again. Even though I wish I could put it, because I'm not going to be editing this video, because these are just my honest thoughts. I wish I could put those videos. I wish I could put that panning shot in there of the fight, but when the entire party is fighting for their lives against those bears. It was fantastic. The music was fantastic. It's like the voice acting in particular, in my opinion, really stood out. And and the fact that you have two different voice actors for Rudeus, right? You have the Rudeus Isekai one, then you have the past Rudeus, like you could get past Rudeus in his mind, or former Rudeus in his mind, and you're just getting this beautiful dynamic. It was fantastic. And also Counter Arrow, like you saw the multiple times they tried to reach out, because Suzanne tried and failed. Then you saw the attack mage, the leader of the party, and he was like, hey, I'm sorry about Sarah, she's trying to do this, and then Rudeus just immediately brushes it off, and you see I don't know if anybody saw that, but maybe it was just tricking my mind. You saw the attack mage standing there behind with his hands behind his back, and then he grips his like his wrist, like damn, like, you know, it's like, you know, we've all done that before, like when you kind of fucked up or you felt like you messed up, you just grab your hand and you're like, oh man. I'm so excited for season 2, and I'm telling you guys right now, if the quality remains as great as season 1 or it gets even better than episode 1 of this season will, Mushoku Tensei is my anime of the year. Because out of all the anime I've seen this year so far, and I know I'm biased toward Mushoku Tensei, but episode 1 gripped me, man. And I'm probably going to watch it again after I get off this. That's how great the episode was. Like, it was fantastic. Guys, get ready for a great season. You're definitely going to do a why you should watch on season 2, which would be like the first time I've ever done a second why you should watch on the same series. But Mushoku Tensei needs to be talked about in the exact same vein that ReZero does, the same way that Overlord does, the same way that Reincarnated Slime does, the same way that Konosuba does. It's up there with the greatest isekais of all time. It's up there. And I'm willing to argue with anybody and everybody on this. So, guys, thank you so much for listening and I guess watching too. Like, this was fantastic. Mushoku Tensei is like, they're already in high gear. They're already in high gear like Demon Slayer. They're like, this is all we do. We make great episodes. We make great content. Okay, guys, thank you all for watching or listening technically. Episode 2, The Forest in the Dead of Night. And we're only getting better from here. We're only picking up from here. So, woo! Can't wait. Every Sunday is going to be a freaking delight. Just like every Sunday was when Demon Slayer was here. Oh, God. We're getting hooked up this year. See you guys soon. Thank you all for watching.